This is the problem. Lectins and lectin-like substances enter the body through the food. Lectins are bad. Lectins are present in nuts, grains, vegetables, potatoes, and all the protein sources that we use to feed our dogs. They are essentially in all foods. All dog foods are laden with lectins, so when the dog eats food laden with lectins, they basically get into the system and they go immediately into the gut, the stomach, and also the jejunum. They attach to the gut wall and bore a hole in the membrane, allowing them access to the bloodstream. This is called the leaky gut and produces lots of disease processes in the dog, also in the human being, but that's another lecture altogether. Then once they're in the bloodstream, they move throughout the rest of the body, particularly to the joints. And the most amount of joints in the body are actually in the spine. And they bore a hole in those membranes, allowing them into the joint, and now we have what's called a leaky joint. As they go straight into the joint, the body sees these antigenic lectins as non-self and reacts to them in an inflammatory way, causing joint degeneration and an autoimmune type of reaction. Thus you get swelling, pain, immobility, and also nerve and blood supply problems. As they then now move to the peripheral joints, essentially we get the same events that occur in those joints, including a goodly amount of inflammation, which is due to the effects of the lectins and also the effects of the antigenic nature of lectins in the joint. This is not a good thing, and this is why the dog seems to have sore joints peripherally, but held in place by the actual spinal vertebral segments. Now, the dog eats the Dr. Bill's glucosamine and boswellia complex with its food. It enters the GI tract and is broken down into its various elements. Glucosamine, or GS, grapeseed extract, G, green lip mussel, GLM, boswellia B, hyaluronic acid, HA, and other elements are all broken up in the gut and absorbed effectively into the body, essentially, for their effects. What occurs then immediately in the gut is glucosamine seeks out lectins in the food and binds irreversibly, making them inert. This is an incredibly important part of this particular supplement because lectins do not get into the body due to glucosamine's ability to come down and then grab onto that particular tissue, to the lectin, and irreversibly bind it, basically allowing it not to get into the body and be absorbed, but rather it exits the body through the stool. Lectins do not get into the body if good quality glucosamine is available, which is what we put in our supplement. Next, green lip mussel, which is the meaty part of a New Zealand mussel that actively repairs the lectin-damaged phospholipids in the joint cell membranes. These are specifically designed to repair the actual joint membrane glucoproteins that make up the actual membrane that is torn apart by the lectins. It is important to have that and a high quality of that in a supplement. Then there's grapeseed extract, which is actively absorbed into the body and acts as a very effective antioxidant and free radical scavenger due to its carbon-nitrogen triple bond, and acts as a significant anti-inflammatory, decreasing inflammation and swelling. Then the most important part of the supplement is boswellia, which actively repairs the damaged joint cell membranes and tissues by inducing the mitochondrial DNA of the cell to repair the lectin damage. Boswellia is the most effective element for joint repair. The Dr. Bill's has 4 times the boswellia of other supplements. Hyaluronic acid moves into the joint to enhance the volume and viscosity of the joint fluid. It is also elemental in forming the intercellular matrix that makes up the hyaluronic cartilage that bears weight in the joints, increasing joint lubrication, decreasing joint wear and tear. Altogether, these elements and more reduce and repair joint disease. This affects particularly the joints of the spine, which will also affect the peripheral joints such as the knees, shoulders, hips, and elbows. Inflammation and joint degeneration causes immobility and pain that farther causes decreased blood supply and nerve supply to all the tissues, including all of the organs. This is incredibly important because as the body is suffering from joint disease, it is slowly dying in an accelerated fashion from the joint disease, directing compromised blood and nerve supply to the internal organs. The result of regular supplementation with Dr. Bill's glucosamine and boswellia plus is not only a happier, healthier dog with increased mobility, often seen in 7 to 12 days, but an increased vitality and maximized blood and nerve supply to all the organs, which gives you a longer living, happier, healthier dog with more mobility.